Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we'll continue our discussion on fifth chapter. So here instructions of Rishabhadev. So I will share the screen for you. So these are one of the most famous instructions of Bhagavatam. Here Rishabdev he started with this first famous shloka where he says that Nunam Nayam Deho Deho Bhajanu Loke Kashtan Kaman Arhate Vidbujamye Tapo Divyam Putrakayena Sattvam Shuddhe Tasmat Brahma Sokyam Tanantam. This is the pleasure that is enjoyed is available even for dogs and hogs. So why to try for that? It's just a sensual pleasure which we discussed elaborately yesterday. It is just a mode of passion that makes a person enjoy. But tapo divyam. So you can experience a different level of happiness if you can just shift your consciousness. And then he says that because of this, what is happening? Noonam, there is so much if bondage in the heart. And this verse is that we elaborately discussed on this verse that Mahatsevam dvaram ahur vimuktes tamodvaram yoshitam sangi sangam mahantaste samachitta prashanta vimanyavat suhurdas sadavoye. So if I want to come out of it, then I had to associate with a Mahatma. So these are the things that are binding us. And we want to come out of it. And this is the only way we can come out of it. And then there is, if you are associating with materialistic people, it opens the path of darkness. Associating with great souls, it opens. So that is the most important instructions. And now we'll come to the further instructions which he is giving. So we have discussed these points. I'll share the notes for you. So we discussed what exactly makes us free from this bondages when we serve a great soul. When we serve the great soul, what happens? We are pleasing Krishna. So any activity that pleases Krishna will purify the heart. Just note this point. A problem is because our heart is unclean. Any act that pleases Krishna will purify the heart. Then the knots are freed from the heart. That's all. So, and the best way to please Krishna is to serve his devotees. That is the best way. And any other thing, there is no, if we are chanting also, if I am pleasing Krishna in my chanting, if I am very attentive, conscious, heart is getting cleansed. If I am just chanting for the sake of chanting, making some sound, nothing is going to happen. We can be like, we can say that something is so then we discussed how impressions, desires and all these things, they are different topics we have touched. Why serve Mahatmas? It is not a ritual. That is also we discussed. Serving Mahatma is not a ritual. It is a conscious effort. And reviving, who are interested in reviving, they have to serve Mahatmas who are free from this Dehatma Buddhi. We have discussed about the connection, ego and how the emotions come also. And then yesterday we had discussed, so all these spiritual organizations, they deal till the level of mind and buddhi only. They cannot deal with the level of ahankara. They don't know only about it. So when it comes to Krishna consciousness, we deal at the level of ahankara, because we start discussing that we are servant of Krishna. So we generate different emotions because it is much more subtler. So they don't develop these emotions because they don't understand only. They don't understand this subtle knowledge. So that is the difference. We are not minimizing that spiritual organizations. They are bringing people to mode of goodness. They are helping them to come out of many of their lower conditionings and all. But they are not able to give the real solutions, because ultimately they will again end up in the same situation, because they could not completely rid of. Main is that identity. So they cannot give that real identity. They continue to remain in false identity. So then what happens? After some time, you get again influenced and you continue to remain in this false state only. So that is the problem. Then Nunam Pramatta Kurute Vikarma Yadindriya Priti Apnotis Na Sadhu Manye Yatatmanoyam Apsanna Klesha Dasa Deho. When a person considers sense gratification as life, he certainly becomes mad. Nunam pramatta kurute. Vikarma. Matta is mad, pramatta means highly mad. And then vikarma, he commits sinful activities. Yad indriya priti apnoati. He does not know the duties past misdeed he already received. The temporary material body, actually the living entity should not have taken this body. Na sadhu manye yadatmanoyam asannapi klesha dasa deho. Therefore, it is not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification. So, this is the foolishness that is happening. If we are doing it again, we are again going to get another body. Such a nice instructions. So, we discussed about what is this Indriya Preeti, how this pleasure comes. It is not in the objects, it's a programming in the mind that is giving us pleasure. That is clear. Yesterday we discussed elaborately why external objects are not the cause of pleasure. Whatever internal wiring we have, that makes us experience that we imagine that as a pleasure. And at all levels, at the level of senses, at the level of mind, at the level of ego, at the level of buddhi, it's all the programming that is defining me as a pleasure. Otherwise, it is no pleasure if you don't have that programming. And we discussed very elaborately this dopamine. But scientists also understand this dopamine. Then why four regulative principles? This is like hacking of dopamine. And we discussed we have to experience pleasure in goodness. It's not in now this is a very famous shloka. Parabhavastabadabodha yavanna jigyasa atma tattvam yavan kriyastavad idam manovai karmatmakam yena sharira bandha. This is, as long as one does not inquire about the spiritual life, one is defeated. This is the most important thing. Parabhavastabadabodha. Everybody is defeated in this world. If they are not inquiring, they are defeated only. People think, oh, they are successful. But Bhagavatam says, no, they are defeated. They are not successful. One is defeated and subject to the miseries arise from ignorance. Be it sinful or pious. This is very important. It can be sinful also, pious also. People may be doing so many pious activities. They are giving charity. Their karma has its resultant actions. They are doing so many philanthropic activities and many dharmic activities. They are doing rituals and reciting Vedas and any activity which is not inquiring about spiritual values. It is all religious values, it's not spiritual. Then his life is defeated. He may be a very famous personality. No, he may be a very. He has done great activities for the nation, for the society. Still, it is considered defeat only. Prabhupada says Mahatma Gandhi is not Mahatma according to Prabhupada, because his life is what Prabhupada was writing a letter to him. Now just give it up and take to the preaching of Bhagavad Gita. He didn't do it. Prabhupada said he just wasted his life. Parabhosthavadabodhayat. If they are not utilizing their energy and teaching and understanding Bhagavad Gita and spreading the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, understanding Bhagavatam, they are wasting their life. You, they may be at any position in the world, any activity they are doing, and some are getting some big Nobel Prize, this prize, that prize. It's all पराभवस्तावदभूति जाते. If one person is engaged in any kind of karma, the mind is called karmatmakam, colored with fruitive activity. See, this is the problem. So it's all fruitive activity. Because there is an attachment to the result. As long as mind is impure, consciousness is unclean, and as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. See, all unhappiness is because of impure mind, impure consciousness. Consciousness is not clear only. He don't know what he's doing. Generally, people think that one should act very piously in order to be relieved from miseries. But this is not the fact. They think that I should do more punya to enjoy. Actually, before coming Krishna conscious, I was also thinking the same thing. I was feeling very miserable when I was working in my office. I used to go and I was working in a software company. I was feeling so miserable. I don't know why. then I was thinking, I don't want this life. Then I was thinking, if I do some good activity, next life I will get. I understood. I didn't know that if you commit suicide, you will get a ghost body, you will suffer in hell, and all these things. But I understood that you cannot escape this suffering. I know that I have to pay for whatever karma is there. That understanding I had. Means I thought, this life I want to escape. Then I understood I cannot escape. Then what should I do? I had to counteract with pious activities. So I had two options. I thought I'll go and join Mother Teresa's organization, do some service to society, I'll get some good punya, and next life I'll enjoy. Second option was join Hare Krishna temple. Then somehow it was near to my place. I came and joined Hare Krishna temple. I was knowing I had to do some pious activity too. That was, but here Prabhupada said, people think one should act piously in order to relieve from miseries, but that is not a fact. Even though one engage in pious activity and speculation, he is nonetheless defeated. So Krishna is so kind to me. After coming, within one day only I understood. No, I should go to spiritual world. This is not the place to stay only. Such a relief. So his only aim should be emancipation from the clutches of Maya, and all material activities, speculative knowledge and pious activity do not solve the problems of life. Good news for all of us. What is the good news? Speculative knowledge and pious activity do not solve the problems of life. So no need to try only. Such a relief, right? If we are knowing that this will work, we will keep on trying. So why to waste our time? So all material activities. The only aim should be emancipation from the clutches of Maya and all the material activities. That's all. And that means we should not be impressed with the so-called achievements and success of this world, because that is defeat only. So, yata dhyamsi samidognir basmasat kurute arjuna jnanagdi sarva karmani basmasat kurute tata. As a blazing fire burns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so do the fire of knowledge burn the ashes, all reactions of mental activities. So what we need? The fire of knowledge. This comes how? Yajna. So when we perform sacrifice, we get knowledge. And what is the yajna for Kali Yuga? Sankirtana yajna. Unless one understands the self and its activities, one has to consider one has to be considered in material bondage. So it is said, Enya Ravindaksha Vimuktamanina Tvayastabhava Abhishuddha Buddhaya. A person who does not have knowledge of devotional service may think himself liberated, but actually he is not. Aruhya Kuchena Param Padam Tataha. So this is What is the situation? The difference between Sukruti and pious activities, Sukruti is when you are doing service to Krishna and not expecting anything in return, that is Sukruti. You gain Sukruti. We are rendering service to Krishna, appreciating service done by devotees of Krishna, but not anything in return. People go to temple, do some puja, they go to Krishna temple, do some puja, but expect something in return. They will not get Sukruti. If they just did service to Krishna but nothing in expectation, they will definitely get like that. So here such people may approach the impersonal Brahman emergence, but they fall down. So here important is that even pious activity, it won't work. So Prabhupada want to tell you, even liberation won't work. Anya vilashita shunyam. So that is what is expected. So this is a very the instruction is parabhavas tavadabodha jate. We should always remember this shloka. Anytime you are seeing any successful person, if you are feeling impressed, then recite this shloka. Parabhavas, he is defeated, he is not victorious. Because at the end of life, nothing will going to come with him. He is defeated only. What will come to him? Vayuranilam adedam basmandam shariram. So whatever, when he is living his body, is defeated only. He cannot fight death. So now temporarily he may show off something. Like say I'll give example. Like you are studying in your school times. So in the school somebody got first grade. Now they don't have. Previously we used to have. Somebody you have different ranks in this classes. First, second, third, fourth ranks in the class. So now if I consider, one of my friends, he was always topper in the class. Now it does not matter only. when you are working, when you are some people are married, having children, who cares you are topper or not? It does not make any sense. Similarly, because it is the level of consciousness that time, it mattered so much. Now we have moved on. The level of consciousness, the understanding and all is completely different. Now we have a different level of consciousness, and at this level we are thinking this is success, this is success. But when we elevate our consciousness, that becomes irrelevant. Arey, what is this? So for us, it does not matter how much money he got, how much facilities he got. For us, it should matter how much realization we have, how much knowledge we have acquired. That should be our criteria, because the level of consciousness should not be in passion. It should be in goodness. For us, if a head of a state is coming to our house, or some Maharaj is, ISKCON sannyasi is coming to our house, what should make a difference? So ISKCON sannyasi should make a difference, because for us we know this person is more realized. So that person, he may be head of the state and he may be doing so many pious good activities. At the best, what he will attain? He will attain heavenly planet. That's all. But a devotee, he will go beyond this material world. He will go to spiritual world, or at least he will take us in that direction to some extent. So that's why whom we are valuing. So if a celebrity comes, people will go take selfie. For us, our celebrities are people who have got realization. They are our celebrities, like that. So Noonam Pramatta Kurute, Parabhavasthavadabodhajate should always ring in our mind whenever we see any successful, so-called successful people of this mental world. And that's why Rishabhde's teachings are so very wonderful actually. Yevam manah karma esam prayukte avidyaya nanya upadhiyamane प्रीतिर्न यावन् मयि वासुदेवा न मुच्यते देह योगेन तावत्. When the living entity is covered by mode of ignorance, he does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being, and the mind is subjected to fruitive activities. Therefore, until one has love for Vasudeva, one is none who is none other than myself, he is certainly not delivered from having to accept a material body again and again. So we will just see this slide. Oh, this is from the next verse. Okay, we'll come to that. So, covered by mode of ignorance. So, he does not understand individual being and the supreme being, subjected to fruitive activities. So, when the mind is polluted by fruitive activities, the living entity wants to be elevated from one material position to another. Generally, everyone is involved in working hard day and night to improve his economic conditions. This is true even for everyone. Even when understand the Vedic rituals, he becomes interested in promotion to heavenly planets, not knowing that one's real interest lies in returning home back to Godhead. By acting on the platform of fruitive activity, one wanders throughout the universe in different species of and forms. Unless he comes in contact with a devotee of Lord, a guru, he does not become attached to the service of Vasudeva. So this is the essence of this verse, that you are living entities covered in ignorance, not understanding Supreme Lord and Himself, and mind is subjected to fruitive activities. So this is what is happening to all of us. We are not able to understand the difference between the Lord and the living entity properly. We are caught up in fruitive activities. You may say, Prabhuji, what I am doing fruitive activities? So by acting on the fruitive activities, what? We are expecting results in the actions which we are doing. Unless one contacts devotee, he cannot come out of it. Class. So this is not possible only. Always I am expecting result. See, even I also have fruitive mentality. If I do something, I want to see the results. So just see how much we are into results. We want results in our studies, job, and our actions. We are doing any activities at home or anything, we want to have results there. So these results are so much affected, and this is because of ignorance only. Unless in contact with a devotee of the Lord, a guru, he does not become attached to service. So when we are serving Krishna, then there is no effect of this. Why it is not affecting when we are serving Krishna? Because Krishna is pleased not with result. Krishna is pleased with endeavor itself. You are understanding the difference? If you know this, then things are very easy in life. You make an endeavor, Krishna is pleased. And result is not a problem. Like Jatayu tried to serve Lord Ram. He fought against Ravana. Jatayu died. He was not successful in his attempts. Just because he endeavored to serve, Lord is pleased. And the squirrel is trying to endeavor to build a bridge, assist Lord Ram in building the bridge. Life is successful. So spiritual life is endeavor itself is success. Why? Because ultimately it is Lord who makes the arrangement. Like Prabhupada, he made so much endeavors for so many years, 40 years. Nothing happened. But it was successful only life. After that, Krishna gave in a very short time, 10 years he made him Jagat Guru. So because ultimately it is Krishna who gives the results, we have to make an endeavor. So Krishna consciousness, we know that, and we are not interested in impressing people. That is also another thing. We are interested in impressing Krishna. I made an endeavor, I prayed, I offered. We know if this is done, it is success. Whether results come or not, it is up to Krishna. If he want to give, he will give. If he feels it is not good for me to achieve so much success and good results, then he will not give. So not a problem. Knowledge of Vasudeva requires many births to understand. Bahuram Janmanam Ante. After struggling for existence for many births. So when this happens, one actually becomes wise and surrender unto him. This is the only way to stop the repetition of birth and death. So, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Rupa Goswami, Brahmana Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. You see, the living entity wandering through different forms and bodies, but if by chance he comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master, by gaze of spiritual master, he receives Lord Krishna's shelter and devotional life begins. Very simple instruction, very simple formula. We have to come out of this fruity mentality, which is not going to happen so easily. We need a mercy of Guru, then we can come out of it. And because after coming ISKCON also we have this fruit, how many books distributed, how much donation raised. So even there also we are interested in result. But that is okay, because we want to please Guru. But eventually we'll transcend it. We'll not be affected by the... We are happy if more books are distributed, but it is not to impress. It want to please Guru and Vaishnavas. That's why we do. Yada na pashyat ayata guneha swarte pramatta sahasa vipaschit gata smritir vindati tatra tapan asadhyamaitum nyam aghama ajan ajnaha. Even though one may be very learned and wise and is mad if he does not understand that the endeavor for sense gratification is useless waste of time, being forgetful of his own interest, he tries to be happy in the material world, creating his interest around his home, which is based on sexual intercourse, which brings him all kinds of material miseries. In this way, one is no better than a foolish animal. And so heavy statements. Rishabh is teaching his sons, and all the citizens are also present when who are also listening to the instructions which Rishabdev is giving. And he is telling that these are all foolish animals who are interested in happy, centering his interest around home, which is based on sexual intercourse and bringing him all kinds of miseries, no better than a foolish animal. And you can see 90% of the people are like this only now. In the lowest stage of devotional service, one is not an unalloyed devotee. One must be free from all miseries and untouched by fruitive activities, speculation, knowledge. On the lower platform, one may sometimes be interested in philosophical speculation with a tinge of devotion. However, at that stage, one is still interested in sense gratification and is contaminated with modes of material nature. The influence of Maya is so strong that even a person advanced in knowledge actually forgets that he is Krishna's eternal servant. Therefore, he remains satisfied in his household life, which is centered around sexual intercourse. Concerning to a life of sex, he agrees to suffer all kinds of material miseries due to ignorance. One is thus bound by the chains of material laws. Interesting, Lana, people who are going through it, they don't enjoy much, but they don't want to come out of it. So, पुंसां स्त्रिया मिथुनी भावमेत तयोर्मितोर हृदय गंति माहुर अतः गृहक्षेत्र सुताप्त वित्तै जनस्य मोहोयम अहम ममेति. These are all very classical verses. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of mental existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties the hearts of male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusion and thinks in terms of I and mine. So, this is a very, very, very huge. What is happening, you see here, very nice formula. On the basis of this misconception, the ties which ties the heart of male and female together, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children. In this way, one's life illusion thinks I and mine. So this image shows this point. So the knot in the heart. This is how our heart is tied. How to come out of it, the next shlokas explain. Sex serves as a natural attraction between man and woman. And when they are married, the relationship becomes more involved. Due to the entangling relationship between man and woman, there is a sense of illusion whereby one thinks this man is my husband or this woman is my wife. This is called Hridaya Granthi, the hard knot in the heart. This knot is very difficult to undo. Even though a man and woman separate either for the principles of Varnashrama or simply to get a divorce, in any case, the man always thinks of the woman and the woman always thinks of the man. Thus, a person becomes materially attached to family, property, and children. Although all of these are temporary, the possessor unfortunately identifies with his property and wealth. Sometimes, even after renunciation, one becomes attracted to a temple or the few things that constitute the property of a sannyasi. But such attachment is not as strong as family attachment. The attachment to family is the strongest illusion. In the Satya Samhita it is said, ब्रह्माध्या याज्ञवल्क्याध्या मुच्यन्ते श्रीसहानयः बोधयते केचनायतेषां विशेषं च विधो विदुः. Sometimes it is found amongst exalted personality like Lord Brahma that the wife and children are not a cause of bondage. On the contrary, a wife actually helps further spiritual life and liberation. Nonetheless, most people are bound by the knots of material relationship and consequently they forget their relationship with Krishna. So this is the state of affairs. You all know about it, so I will not take much. But here one nice point is said, sometimes wife helps in progress also. यदा मनोहृद्य गृह्णन्तिरास्य कर्मानुबन्धोदित आस लतेट तदा जनः संप्रवर्तते स्माद् मुक्तः परं याति अतिहाय हेतुम्. When a strong knot in the heart of a person implicated in material life due to the results of past action is shackled, one turns away from his attachment to home, wife, and children. In this way, one gives up the basic principles of illusion and becomes liberated. Thus, one goes to the transcendental world. So, very nicely explained this. When by associating with sadhus, engaging in devotionalism is gradually freed from the material concepts due to the knowledge and practice of detachment, and the knots of attachment in the heart is slackened. So I will elaborate on it on Monday on this point. It's very nice point that is mentioned about the shackles. हमसे गुरोर्मयि भक्त्यानुवर्त्या वितर्ष्णया द्वन्द्वतितिक्षया च सर्वत्र व्यसनावघात्या जिज्ञासया तपसेह निवृत्त्या मत्कर्मभिर्मत्कतया च नित्यं मध्येव सङ्गात् गुणकीर्तनां मे निर्वैरसं साम्योपशमेन पुत्र जिह्वासया देहगतात्मबुद्धे आध्यात्मयोगेन विविक्तसेव्या प्राणेन्द्रियात्मा विजयेन सकृद्यत् सच्चर अध्यया ब्रह्मचर्येण सस्वत् असम्प्रमादेन यमेन वाचा सर्वत्र मयद्भाव विचक्षणेन ज्ञानेन विराजितेन योगेन धृत्य उद्यमसत्त्वयुक्तो लिङ्गं यतोपेत कुशलोऽहमाख्याम्. So it is said, O my sons, you should accept a highly elevated Paramahamsa, a spiritually advanced spiritual master. In this way, you should place your faith and love in me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You should detest sense gratification and tolerate the duality of pleasure and pain, which are like the seasonal changes of summer and winter. Try to realize the miserable condition of living entity who are miserable even in the higher planetary system. Wow, this is such an important thing. So accept a highly elevated Paramahamsa as your spiritual master. Then what you should do? You should place your faith and love in him. And then he says that you should desist sense gratification, tolerate the dualities of pain, pleasure, which are like season. So pleasure and pain, don't take it seriously. Try to realize the miserable condition of living entities who are miserable even in the higher planetary system. So there also it is not something very good. And he says that philosophically try inquire about the truth, thus undergo all kinds of austerities and penance for the sake of devotional service. Give up the endeavor for sense gratification and serve the Lord. Listen to discourses about Supreme and always associate with devotees. Chant about the glories of the Lord and look upon everyone equally on the spiritual platform. Give up enmity and subdue anger and lamentation. Abandon identifying the self with the body at home and practice reading the revealed scriptures. Live in a secluded place. Practice the process by which you can completely control your life, your mind, and senses. Have full faith in the revealed scriptures, the Vedic literature, and always observe celibacy, perform your prescribed duties, avoid unnecessary talks, always think of the Supreme, acquire knowledge from right source. Thus, practicing Bhakti Yoga, you will patiently and enthusiastically be elevated in knowledge and will be able to give up the false ego. So we will end here for today. Any questions, comments? Yes, Gail Mataji.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Yeah,
Hi.
just a couple things. One is, I just want to make sure that I'm clear about the reason why um, sexual intercourse is like the most, maybe what should I say, the most binding, the thing in this world. Or how did he put it? It is the cause for all suffering, because the attraction between man and woman leads to householder life and all of the entanglement that is connected with that. Is that the idea?
Actually, what happens now? The person completely comes to a state of enjoyment. So, what happens here is I will explain. Uh, so, any activity done at a very uh, intense action where the emotions are involved. So a person is completely absorbed in that pleasure. So here the deep impressions come. So this is actually what happens at that time when they are enjoying. What happens? They are completely absorbed in it, and it creates a deep emotion, and that is causing the impressions. So more and more a person is enjoying, more and more he is creating these impressions, and that's why it is difficult. The side effects are there. Then he want to, because he is enjoying. Now if he is enjoying in a responsible way, then he'll have wife, children, and all other things. If he's irresponsibly enjoying, is not paying for it, he will get another sinful reactions. So the people, they don't want to now. Previously people were enjoying, but along with that enjoyment they were ready to pay for it, so they were taking responsibility for enjoyment. So uh, so responsibility for enjoying, then they will marry. So they marry, and then what you told, all this why house, land, children, and everything comes. So that is responsibility. But if a person is not taking responsibility, so and then he is enjoying, so then we may say, oh, he don't have all these marriage, land, home, and all these things, right? So, and children. So this is not there, but he will get sinful reactions. But here, more important is this act of enjoyment itself is going to cause a deep impressions in the heart of a person, because he has enjoyed something very extreme type of that Lord has arranged to make this creation continue. Lord made that arrangement that a person experiences a deep amount of pleasure, which he want to experience again and again. That is adi rasa. That's what in the first shloka of Bhagavatam 1.1.1 in the purport propositing, this is adi rasa, the original spiritual pleasure. Some glimpse of it are present, kept when a man and woman are coming closer, so that they experience something very high, and they want to repeat it. If you want to repeat, then what happens? Then Lord made arrangement that that process is begetting children also. So when he is indulging, then the process of the Lord gave that, okay, now you come together, then there is a generation of children, and all these things will come. In that way the population will increase. So that is the system kept. But Lord, interestingly, if there is no pleasure in that activity, no man will want to marry woman, and no woman want to have children. So but Lord made that arrangement to increase the population. So this is the system arranged by Lord to give more and more living entities opportunity to come into this material world and engage. So Lord kept a very special type of pleasure there, which causes a great deep impression, and person want to repeat that pleasure again and again. So that's why it is the hardest knot. And not only that, it is also emotional support a person gets. If he closely is talking to a wife and she is talking to him and he is revealing his heart and all these things, so they are also very great amount of bondage along with the pleasure which he experiences. There is another type of pleasure when he is opening up his heart and sharing his heart and they are intimately talking about. So that is also a support, emotional support he gets. So that is also a bondage. So and then there is security that one experiences in that relationship. So that is also another bondage. So relationship, security, pleasure. So it's a very complicated situation. I also did not much meditate on this to explain little bit whatever comes in my thoughts now. I am just telling. If we meditate, we can understand it more deeply also. Why this system?
Yeah.
Okay, Matthew.
Yeah. And also I was thinking too that it's also deeply binding because the pleasure is so intense, right? It reinforces our identification with the body, right?
Body,
Because
yeah,
we will want to feel like we're the body so that we can maximize our experience of that material pleasure. No,
yeah,
so in that way, it seems like it's binding also.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Prabhu, just one other thing about you know, in the beginning of the class, you were saying, or you were repeating from last class, which I missed, that sense objects in and of themselves, they're neutral, right? It's not that um I don't know what, like candy is inherently pleasurable, and um I don't know, maybe rice is inherently not pleasurable. I mean, I love rice, but for some people it's not. So in other words, the sense objects are not inherently pleasurable or displeasing, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so you were saying that depending upon our programming, which to me means our past experiences with the sense objects, you know, dopamine will be released upon contact or it will not, right? Is it like
yeah.
that?
Yes, yes, yes. Based on
Uh-huh.
the programming, the subtle senses, it will be released or not.
But
So if you have a programming of already see of a ice cream and you have a programming of ice cream, then when you are served ice cream, then you start feeling that pleasure. If you don't have any
because of
experience, if you don't
because
have
of the
any
dopamine.
programming, yeah, no,
Uh,
dopamine is it's an external manifestation, but internally you are getting pleasure. That's what I was explaining yesterday. Dopamine is just an external symptom.
oh, oh, it comes as a result of the pleasure.
Result of the pleasure, yeah. Then when dopamine is written, then you understand you're experiencing pleasure. It's like that.
So then, what's the function of dopamine then? What does it accomplish?
No.
Huh?
Dopamine, see, it like what is the function of brain? Mind and brain. What is the difference between mind and brain?
Ah, well, I think the brain is like an interface, right, between the mind and the body, something like that.
It's like a hardware. It activates. So all the programmings are there in the mind, and
Yeah,
like you have a mobile and you have apps. You have a mobile and you have
yeah,
all the programming of the app. If you have a certain app, then only your mobile will function with that app. Otherwise, it won't function. If you don't have Zoom app in your mobile, can you access Zoom? No. You need to
uh,
have the app, right? That means that is called programming. So you need
mhm,
to have a programming. So brain is a hardware, like the mind is like the programming. So now if your brain will only activate, if brain will produce the dopamine, only you have that programming of a, if you look at a mango or ice cream, if you have already the programming in the mind, then only the brain will activate it, otherwise it won't activate.
Mm.
Say I give the example of Zoom. So your mobile, uh, so now mobile will function this Zoom function only if you have the app. If the app is not there, then Zoom will not come in your mobile. So mobile is like brain, and these apps are like mind. So now whatever apps you have, that's the way your mobile is going to function, na? So the brain is going to function according to the mind. So whatever programmings you have, programming is what samskaras. So based on that only this brain will function. Otherwise it won't function. If you don't have these apps, then why the mobile will function a particular, it don't function. So this is the programming of the mobile. So mind is the program of brain. So based on my sanskaras, your brain will function. So brain will release dopamine is based on how your sanskaras are there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mataji, I'm in class. Hello. So you are able to understand, no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just wondering, I understand programming has to be there, but let's say in the case of ice cream, right?
Yeah,
The let's say the very first time in my existence, my eternal existence, I'm coming in contact with ice cream. So
yeah.
what will determine whether I find that ice cream pleasurable or not? I don't have any history with ice cream.
You have
So,
history with something related to it. You have experience of sweet. You have experience with. You have experience with something cold. You have experience something with yummy and like soft. So you have some experience of sweet, and you have cold. So you have experience and something very, what do you say, very soft. So you have pleasure with these things. So then you like ice cream. If you don't have any pleasure with sweet, you don't like only sweet, then you will not like ice cream. So you have already pleasure with sweet, something cold, something soft, then you will start liking ice cream. Like now
uh-huh,
pizza. Not all Indians will love pizza only.
uh-huh.
Why they don't like pizza? For West it is their favorite. For Indians they say they don't like it because for them there is they have a different taste. Their taste is different. So they say for them, they like paratas, they like some other no, oil fry items. Instead of pizza, you they'll feel it is like it's very dry for them. They don't appreciate so much. Many of them. So why? Because that is a different programming for them. So people, they may not everybody will like chocolates. Somebody will like chocolates. Not everybody appreciates. So you already have some experience of related to it. So if somebody is already having pleasure in ice cream, then you give cold coffees or cold chocolates, then they will enjoy that also because they are interested in these items like that.
Oh, so then therefore, we cannot say that for any sense object in this world, right?
Yeah,
There is going to be some, because every sense object has various aspects to it, just like the ice cream, right? Sweet, cold, soft.
yeah.
And we can break down any sense object in this way, so that you cannot say that there is no prior history to any sense object, because some aspect of that sense object you will have had prior experience with. Is it like that?
You may have bad experience also of it,
Yeah,
not
bad
good
experience
experience.
or good experience, whatever. But there's no there's no such thing. Therefore, as saying there's no history at all with a particular sense object, because some aspect of it you will have had history with, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because yeah. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Correct. So we'll end here. Thank you all very much.